Let's talk about overcoming procrastination. Have you ever found yourself procrastinating and you're not quite sure why you're procrastinating, but there's going to be a reason and going to be different for one person as it is for the next. And it might be different from one time for yourself than it is at another time. There are different reasons why we procrastinate. And I would say most people do at some point. So procrastination is multifaceted. And I have come up with two words: coping field. The coping is the part that is a lot of the reasons why we might procrastinate. And the field is like the field of play where you're going to go onto the field and you're going to be able to pinpoint the different areas that are possible solutions for that procrastination that is stopping you or slowing you down from getting where you want to go, from reaching your goals and to being your peak performance self. So let's start with the coping part. And it's an acronym. So the C of coping is clarity. And if we don't have clarity in what we're going to do, we procrastinate. You might find that you go down to do some work or go to somebody else's place and you're going to go and do some work, but there's lack of clarity around where you get started, where something's going to go, how it's going to be put together. There's no clarity. So you procrastinate because, well, where do you start? If you're not sure and you haven't got that clarity, it's going to definitely either slow you down until you get that clarity, or it's going to slow you down because you're almost doing this thing in the dark or at a dipped beam, low lighting, in the fog. The next thing is the O of coping, and this can be somebody's overwhelmed. And the overwhelm can be two-phase, actually. The overwhelm can be, I'm overwhelmed by so much to do, I don't know where to get started. Everybody wants me to do something for them. I've got stuff I need to do. I've got a backlog of stuff that somebody has put on my desk. And I've got all these emails and I've got XYZ to deal with as well. And so you procrastinate because, again, it's just too much to deal with. And when you've got too much to deal with, again, where do you start? So that then comes back to getting clarity on what's most important. The P of coping is, oh, I'm a perfectionist. I'm a perfectionist. And so I'm not going to put it out there yet. This just isn't perfect. I'm not going to get up and do that speech because it's not perfect. I'm not going to do that presentation because it's not perfect. And the thing about perfectionism is it can very well be a cover for fear of getting out and being judged, for somebody saying it's not good enough, somebody saying it's not right. And that is stopping you because when you actually go out and you do something, you need to get the feedback. We'll move on to that in a second. So that's another area that people procrastinate. And the I of coping is internal trauma. So if you've got an internal trauma and you're coming up against a situation, and that situation might be, let's say you're speaking to a small group of people. You've got to speak to people that you don't know, and your boss has told you, I've got 5 people, I can't make it, go and speak to those people. I'll be 15 minutes. And you have this internal trauma from before, and you don't even remember what it was, but the same type of thing happened perhaps when you were younger and you had to speak to these strangers as a child or as a teenager, and something bad happened. And that is locked into your nervous system. And you don't realize that that is the fear that you're carrying with you. So you find any way that you can to not have to go and speak to those people. And that's tricky when you're in a job and you're in a situation that you're put there, right? And you're taking that energy, you're taking that fear from your past trauma into that room with you. But you're procrastinating on doing that thing. Perhaps you're going to say, oh, I've got a sore throat, or I can't do that. I'll find somebody else. So you're procrastinating and stopping you becoming better. So that internal trauma really needs to be worked on. The N of coping is it's not exciting. It's really not exciting. It's boring. I don't want to have to do this. Let me put it to the bottom of the pile. Every time it comes up to the top of the pile, it's boring, so it goes back down to the bottom again. And it might be one area in your business. It might be, let's say, the accounts. You don't like doing the numbers things. So it keeps on going down, but there comes a time when you know you've got to do it. And that makes it even worse. You just got to push through and you hate it. So it's just not exciting. And then the last thing is grit. And grit to do something, the determination to do something, the staying power. If it's a very long project, that can be something you don't want to get started on because actually, I don't think I'm going to finish it. I don't think I'm going to do it all the way to the end. Maybe it's not that important. I can just put that to one side. I'll do that when I've got the time to do it. But actually, that thing, if I did it, if I created that thing, if I went through that long course, I would be able to level up. I would be able to earn much more money if I did that thing. So you have to have the grit to do it. But if you don't feel like you've got the grit to stay there and do it, then you're slowing yourself down again and you're stopping yourself from doing it. Then we come over to the field. The field, these are some of the things that are going to help. So I'll go quickly through these because you'll need to match your procrastination with the style that you need for your solution. So F is for friction. So if you've got some friction, something that you have to then go and do, but it would have been easier if it was in the house. For example, let's say you are on a healthy eating program and you're a chocoholic, but you have no chocolate in the house, you've taken it away. So the friction would be I've got to get in my car and go to the store to go and buy some chocolate. So if you've got that little bit of friction, I've got to go out to go and get this thing that I want, you're less likely to do it. The I is intention. So if you know what the intention is to finishing a project, to doing the thing that you need to do, to completing the presentation, the intention is that you get the accolade for doing it. The intention is you're going to earn more money. The intention is that you're the one that got it done first and that you get the applause. So that intention, that end in mind needs to be there. The E of field is for your environment. What does your environment look like? Is it a mess? This is your physical environment. And I've got 3 videos on environment because there are 3 different types of environment. So you might want to check those out. There's also your internal environment. So what are you thinking? Have you got a growth mindset? Have you got a limited mindset? Is an abundant mindset? So it's this internal environment. And then you also have the external environment, which is who you're coming across, right? So are you mixing with people that are negative and bringing you down? Or are you mixing with people that are lifting you up? So look at your environments, your 3 different environments. The L is lubrication. So the L of field is lubrication, which is opposite to friction. And it's lubricating something, it's making it easier. So with the clarity part, if you're not clear, to make it easier, break down all the steps. And now you've lubricated that task that you've got to do, because you know step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You go sit at your desk, you start with step 1. So that would be lubrication. You're lubricating it to make it easier. And the D is distraction deletion. And distractions are everywhere, especially in this day and age. So deleting your distractions are going to help relieve that procrastination, because you can get on with the stuff that really matters. There will be another video coming up on screen. If you want to go deeper into any of those, if you need help, you can get in touch with me, book an appointment, and we'll see where you're procrastinating. And if that's something you need long-term help with, then I coach. So if that's something you would like, then there'll be a description in the box below to be able to get in contact with me. See you soon. Bye for now.